presenting a quality plan. I really do. I wish all of them were this good. So what I'm trying to say is, you could sell me on the color scheme. You probably can't sell me on the lighted band. And
may I come up and talk again, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Can I add on?
I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
And I wanted to add on to that as well. I think that if that building was across the street with those other two buildings, it'd be fine. But in that area with those two buildings, I think it should have some of that harmony. And I'm not saying it all needs to be that color. I mean, there's different ways. You could drop the red brick to some further down, but I think that it should coordinate with those other buildings. And I think with the earth tone and the cane colors, it doesn't coordinate well. It's gonna be on the same property or the same piece as the middle building. That's all red brick. That's my perspective.
Yeah, but
And if that was proposed somewhere else where we already have those colors, that would work as well. But we don't have those colors in that block.
I think if I were an architect or a designer, I might have a strong opinion about it. But I think being just a difference of opinion we could read the design standard different ways. The way I read it, I would rather see the red brick. I agree with staff's recommendation and such. But in the same respect, I'm willing to rely a little more on the applicant and their architecture, their architects. And it's not a bad plan, it's not a bad design, it's not going to look ugly there. It's not going to look like I would have preferred as a campus kind of appearance with these three buildings. Having more of a tie-in, it's going to stand out. It's going to stand separate more than I would like. And so, I guess that's what I'm saying is if the applicant wants to give in without us having to force the issue with the stipulation on the red band, I'd be much more willing to concede on the elevation design, which arguably is a very good design. So.
Thank you.
Would it be acceptable to you if the band remained but was not lit?
I don't personally have a problem with the color band. I have in areas where it didn't, I mean, it almost contradiction, because in other areas of town, we've had the same question come up. It was, I think it was a painted band, but it didn't fit in with its development. I think it actually passed in that instance, but they still didn't put it in, I noticed. That was probably at least 8 years ago. But the applicant didn't put it in. They did keep it with, even though they had it approved for a red band, they didn't do that. And if it's not lit, I could see an architectural highlight of the red.
It would be similar to a paint, just a paint accent. But again, I think that if you would allow the brick colors, we would absolutely, we would like to keep that red band in there, but we would withdraw the light. It would not be lit.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with architectural.
Can I ask why it's not a blue band instead of a red one? I really don't see that goes with the other color scheme that you're proposing there.
Well, I think that's a great assessment. The blue, so the Arvest blue, they really want that to pop, so that's a signature color, so they don't want to overpower that by a red band. We do have blue inside the space, so again, we don't want to over stimulate individuals with the blue. nice finishing touch that, really makes the building from the exterior pop.
I would be okay with the red.
Sorry, so the red lighting, that's part of the branding as
Right.
well? You're kind of, okay.
That's exactly right. Everything in front of you is, important branding, it's an important branding element of our Best Bank.
Can you guys think of another example besides Burger King,
This was,
where it's lit?
can you pull up an Arvest Bank somewhere else?
Because,
We were told at Quick Trip also, and we appreciate that, those spaces are closer to the highway, and,
but they're also burgers.
it is Burger King, it is Quick Trip,
Well, we don't want to get started talking about burgers.
absolutely, and we're not gonna go down that road. No, we would appreciate the color at least, from an accent color, that's really, I think we would still be able to accomplish what Arvest wants to with the color not being lit. Obviously, the lit LED would be ideal, and, if we could, obviously, we have strong feelings about that, so I'm not even gonna push that. But I would like to push just an LED, just the red accent, not lit.
I just, I don't like it. And I don't believe that it goes really against design standards. Do you have that handy that you can read again?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we felt that the color design standard, so principle 8, we felt that the color more represented this challenge. And so it says, proposed color scheme shall incorporate a base primary color for each building. Each building within a complex does not need to be of the same base primary color, but the color must be compatible with other selected colors on the site. And again, we feel like we meet that design requirement to achieve. And while this is a campus, I think that, while we appreciate the parking arrangement, we're making site upgrades to the sidewalks. We're having, there's a connection of all sidewalks to all 3 buildings. And so Arvest Bank is really trying to not clean up, but make this a better site, to make your city a better place. And so with that, I hope that we can kind of meet in the middle.
Plus, you don't really want, everybody keeps saying campus. But
I
you're
pers-
not really trying to tie, Arvest Bank is,
That's correct.
you're really not trying to tie into these other.
No, and while they're on the same site, there is some distance between them. And so while from a bird's eye, we feel that they're tied together, driving past or walking past it, I don't think that relationship is there. I think that from a zoning standpoint, they're connected, but from a visual and experiential standpoint, I don't think that you're necessarily gonna have that. But different people are gonna experience different things, and like we were saying, this is based on opinion, and we're just trying to follow your guidelines, the best that we can.
And you're trying to meet your goals for
Exactly.
giving Arvest Bank what they want.
Exactly.
I'm trying not to let my history on this commission cloud my judgment, because I believe as we saw the original plan, this was going to be 2 of these buildings, the existing building and the parking that is there now, which would have been between the 2 buildings. And another building similar to that was planned, I believe, on preliminary plan.
Was that the, okay.
Yeah,
And that was just preliminary, but I think that's what stuck in my head in thinking, red brick, same architecture.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying not to let that cloud me, but I believe if the image that I'm seeing on this screen, and maybe my screen needs to be different, that band looks brown to me. And I think if it showed up as red, more of a red band, I assume you're talking about right under the roof line.
Yes, sir, that should
would
be red.
And so, yeah, where it is on here, so